versus AZUBU.
AZUBU was able to take the final and 9th set yesterday with Symbol. They have advanced and they will play against LGIM today in our second round of the GSTL playoffs.
Yesterday was an amazing match. Avenge was able to bring it all the way to the ace match after Genius already took 4 wins for his team. AZUBU was close to losing it, but then we had Symbol stepping into the booth and taking down Avenge, bringing his team to the second day of the playoffs here at the GSTL.
Now this is going to be a really awesome match. LGIM, one of the most successful teams of all time in both team leagues and in individual leagues.
And they have a little bit of support today. Jan is actually here at the studio in the backstage area currently, of course, cheering for his former teammate for Symbol, but currently talking to the LGIM team here. Has a lot of friends in the team. Was talking, of course, to Squirrel and players like MC a little bit earlier. And here we have the man of yesterday's match. We have Symbol. He wanted...
Yep, and there's Top in the typical Top Nike jacket. I'm not sure why he always wears that, but he does.
It's kind of his style, I guess. But today is going to be a really interesting match. Yesterday was already very close. Keep in mind, once again, we have a best-of-9 format now. We are in the playoffs, so this is not a best-of-7 anymore. We are currently looking at a best-of-9, so you need 5 wins instead of 4 if you want to go to the third round of the playoffs.
Yeah, third round of the playoffs where you want to be right now. MVP is just sitting, watching right now, waiting. Yep. Analyzing all the players as best as they can. They have a huge lineup of players, and they are waiting at the finals. Whoever wins, of course, today will advance tomorrow, and then the winner of the... or not tomorrow, next week. Well, here's the schedule. There you go.
There's the schedule for you guys. Yesterday we had started versus AZUBU. AZUBU advanced to the second round, has to face LGIM now, and the winner of today is going up against Axiom Acer on Friday next week at 6 p.m. We have 2 additional maps, of course, Derelict Watcher and Atlas, the 2 maps that we had to add because we are switching it from best of 7 to best of 9.
Yeah, always need 9 maps in case of, like we saw yesterday, the ace match, the 9th match.
If we go the full distance, then we just need those maps. We have a bit of a coach interview before we start with those games. Hero being interviewed here, and of course also the coach for Team AZUBU.
Yep. So our Korean interviewer here, and here's the LGIM coach.
And the AZUBU coach already said yesterday that they are really concentrating on their match against LGIM and weren't too worried about StarTail. They were able to take down StarTail. Let's say what Hira has to say about that. He's being asked here how he feels to advance straight to the second round of the playoffs thanks to the position that they had in the ranking at the end of the season.
He wanted to go straight to the finals, so he's not really actually happy about being here in the second round of the playoffs. He wanted to go straight to the finals in the beginning, and he said he's only going to be happy once they win the finals.
Yeah,
be satisfied until then.
I like that. LGIM has said at the season that they want to perform well and fell a little bit short.
He said Genius ate something wrong today, and he did a lot better than he expected.
It's actually exactly what we said yesterday.
Yeah.
So, another player that they had to prepare for today, but yeah, that was pretty cool. It was the same thing we were wondering yesterday. What the hell did they feed that guy?
Yeah. You gotta scout Genius, and even if you do, his all-ins might kill you.
Talking of the playoffs now, he says that they're of course going to do their best, that they want the fans to cheer for them.
Talking about Nesty. How do you feel about Nesty? He's just an old guy.
Don't wake Nesty.
Yeah, that's really a very scary thing to say about Nesty. Yeah. And now, of course, we have the AZUBU coach.
The man with a smile.
Yep. Genius had a 4-kill yesterday, so any comments on that?
So he says that he didn't really expect Genius to do well, and he doesn't think that it's going to happen again. That's not what you want to hear from your coach.
Genius, man. In the playoffs, you need at least one player to do better than you expect, he says, though, which is oftentimes true.
That was definitely the case yesterday. I think nobody would have called that one.
Yeah. Absolutely not. Genius and Avenge, the 2 Protoss Titans of yesterday. So Boom Boom is the starting player again today, so he's hoping that he gets at least 1 kill for the team because he wasn't able to do that yesterday.
이게 운이라고 해야 될까요? 아니면은
So what's the reason for your success?
혼자 일어났던 거라고 저는 생각을 하거든요.
He personally thinks that his team got a little bit lucky in the GSTL so far.
예, 오늘마저 기적이
Trying to be as honest as possible, that are humble.
우승까지도
He wants a miracle to happen. Probably an incredible one. Look at that, what a joke.
He's, you know, it's funny because he talked so much about preparing for this particular team, and now he's saying he needs luck to get through.
Yeah, I expect a little bit more smack talk here after what he said yesterday.
필요 없어요.
I think maybe he's trying to take the, you know, there's that that stance that you can take where you try to make it seem like there's no chance of you winning, then you crush your opponent. You're like, oh, I guess they're actually nothing. You know, that's kind of, I guess, one Korean way of trash talking oftentimes.
Marvel Iron Man 3, what we had there.
Yeah, I saw that movie. There is Hirai. And of course, some of his
Bial,
players.
Ragnarok. Actually, it wasn't Bial, right?
That was Ruin, and I don't think that was Biel.
Oh, there we have the AZUBU players. AZUBU being the starting player today, sitting next to Symbol here.
Yeah. Boom losing a lot of weight recently, it looks like.
MC actually is apparently on a diet. I talked to him earlier and offered him some marzipan. Friends from Germany brought that over and he refused. Thanked me and said like, no, thank you, but I can't. I'm on a diet right now.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Well, here are the breakdowns of race distribution as well as the code roster. As you can see, LGIM having the most players in Code S. Only 2 players for AZUBU there. LGIM been the team that has the most champions, historically speaking, in GSLs, and therefore, you know, the most players in Code S is something that you might expect from them.
I expect a really intense match today. We have LGIM actually, one of their 2 Terran players on the roster immediately out in the first match. They send out Yoda and he's up against Boom Boom in a Terran versus Zerg.
You know, you used to have 3 strong Terran players on LGIM, Yoda, MVP, and Happy, but Happy has since retired, no longer participating in the GSTL, not playing at all at StarCraft 2 anymore, so for him, he's kind of a missing shadow that you can see. Here you can see kind of how these teams went. LGIM had a rough start, and they barely got their way back in.
Yeah, AZUBU on the other hand, at the beginning, all the way to the top, and then they kind of established themselves on that 4th spot in the ranks, but now they're going up against LGIM, so let's see what they can accomplish today. Yesterday was also a very tight match for them, and there of course are a lot of VODs right now, so LGM could probably prepare quite well for this game.
Yeah, they had an extra day. They watched AZUBU play yesterday. They saw that, you know, the 2 key players were obviously Genius and Avenge, or rather not Avenge, Genius and Symbol, the final player that came out. So they're already knowing that Symbol is going to be someone they have to face, but then they have to think a little bit about Genius, and that they could study Boom Boom's play yesterday as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Boom Boom yesterday didn't get the win that he wanted, and the coach was talking a little bit about it earlier. Here, of course, a closer look at the lineup for LGIM. Incredible miracle here with such a strong Protoss lineup.
Yeah. So many good players. You've got Younghwa, MC, and of course Squirtle in first. Really, really strong lineup of players. Ruin not listed today.
Yeah, he's not on the roster. Here we have Kangho, Bial, and Ragnarok, as well as an ST being the Zerg players on the team. And here he is, still sleeping.
Yeah, and ST did get an all-kill against NS Host of this season. Not the most accomplished all-kill that you can ever have, but definitely something to note. There's, of course,
yeah, Younghwa actually. The hair color threw me off earlier. I actually thought for a second that was Bial, because Bial has a similar hair color. I had it like
used to, yeah.
So yeah, for a second I was a bit confused there. But thanks for that second shot. Looking at the opponent's team, AZUBU here. Yesterday, of course, with Genius performing an all-kill, nearly was close. Maybe today we're gonna see Violet and see him come out in a bit. And Symbol, that's of course once again probably gonna be the last man standing for the team if need be.
Yeah. You know, there are so many players that we could see for snipes, but I just... You know, Inca is somebody I've always been waiting to see. Top somebody I'm waiting to see, but we're too serious. We're too far in. These guys don't have the experience anymore. I highly doubt we'll see them. It would be crazy to see somebody like Inca or top today.
Supernova already looking, well, he's always looking a little bit sleepy, and actually every single time he sits on the team bench, it looks like he's going to fall asleep just in a second.
Yeah.
Yesterday he didn't get his win, and I would not mind seeing him again today trying to accomplish that against LGIM.
I caught him napping actually earlier in the make room. I'm sure you noticed that as well. He was just sleeping on the table for a little bit.
He's always napping. He was also napping in Mukdong in our old studio. Like every single time you saw him on the bench, he was just taking a quick nap before his games.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you practice all night, your sleep schedule gets a little bit wonky. And you know when you've got a match this late in the evening, starting at 8 o'clock, I guess you can practice all night and sleep during the day. Just gotta make sure you're ready. And a little bit of a wave there from the LGIM coach. And no smile here. from the AZUBU coach until the very last moment there.
They have to win so many games if they actually want to go all the way to the finals to go up against MVP. So can they win their second one? LGIM is a strong opponent to face, and that's something that they proved in the regular season against AZUBU, where they won the match with a 4-3 back in the best of 7. Now, of course, we are in a best of 9 system, so the depth of the roster, that is what's going to be really important here.
Yeah, it all comes down to that. Look at these two teams. They have accomplished so much this season. LGIM has accomplished so much overall in StarCraft 2. AZUBU, a team that kind of formed this season, and a lot of controversy surrounding the team and the League of Legends teams disbanding, but they're still a strong team. They pulled it together here.
Yeah, they definitely did. But today it's going to be, they're going up against a strong team. Yesterday Startel, of course, was also an incredible opponent to face, and they were able to take them down thanks to Genius. But against LGIM, you have to be aware that there is such a difficult Protoss lineup to face. It's not only about the Protoss players. Players like Kangor could come out later. We have the starting player being a Terran. LGIM always from the individual league perspective, a very, very tough team. But in the GSTL, they always underperformed. They didn't really meet up to the expectations.
Yeah. This season was one season where I feel like the choices that we had from Hirai, the coach of LGIM, were a little bit more solid. He started to really seem to grasp exactly how to use his players and in which order. There's MVP there, the strongest Terran player they have.
The problem for LGIM just seems to be that in the GSTL it's a little bit like a curse. Hira was mentioning it earlier that he's not really happy with how they performed this season and that they have to face so many teams now to go all the way up to the finals. He wanted to be at the top spot after the regular season, and that didn't really work out for him. And if you remember, at the beginning of the season, he actually apologized for the performance in 2012 in the Team League and said that 2013 is going to be their year.
Definitely true. He was criticized by Korean and foreign media for his player choice because it was made public that he put players out only in a specific order and did not change it. And then he, kind of apologized about that. Yeah. But he's really put things together this season, already making it to the second round of playoffs from the preliminary rounds. And AZUBU, they have a chance here, but it's not going to be easy.
Not easy at all. It always depends a bit, of course, also on the first player, and the starting player was not able to deliver yesterday. But BenQ was very close, actually. So even, I don't know. We'll see what exactly he can accomplish.
Yeah, he has to play a completely different matchup today. Yesterday was playing Zerg versus Zerg, now playing against a Terran player. Yoda, who is somebody that we haven't seen all too often this season at all. Not somebody that you really think of. He's a player you could see as a starting player, but he's not the player you're going to put out, second to last or last. He's a good all-around Terran player.
Yeah. Well, right now we're of course waiting for the first match to start here. Yoda is an accomplished player also in international tournaments, and we will find out what exactly he can do against BenQ in the first game of the day. So I actually expect a really fierce battle between the two of them. They are both great players. I would judge them being on eye level. And we are heading into match number 1 here at the GSTL 2013.
Yep.
We have Yoda, of course.
Here are his statistics here as far as GSTL history goes, Wings of Liberty included. He's 10-12 with below 50% win ratio, and his best position is actually first, although he's only got a 50% win ratio there with 8 total times coming out in first position. So he's oftentimes a starter for his team.
And he's up against the starting player that we saw yesterday going up against Team Startail for AZUBU. It's once again going to be BenQ.
Yep. BenQ, someone who's got a long history, was on the Prime team, then was on that MJ team for a little while, and then finally finding himself on AZUBU.
BenQ was able to take down his first opponent yesterday, but then Genius happened and turned things upside down. BenQ was actually so close of defeating Genius. It was just a matter of seconds and he could have won that match, but Genius, he hit the perfect timing, and from that point on, Startail was not really able to stop him. Avenge in the end took him down and got a couple of wins for the team, but AZUBU with their Joker here with their ace able to take them on.
Yeah. Really genius that game against Curious, man. That was a bit nuts. Just having that perfect timing there at the last second right under the Blue Lords. Well, our first map is going to be one of our 2 additional maps for the GSTL match pool. It's Derelict Watcher Tournament Edition, and this is one of those maps that if you start on, you have time to prepare for. LGIM has a lot more time than AZUBU because they didn't even know if they were going to win and who they were going to put out. So they've only had around less than 24 hours to prepare for this particular match.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you could say the same for Yoda because he didn't know the starting player until yesterday either, but he could have at least been preparing to play on this map.
All right, going up into the first game, just a few seconds. And by the way, Boom Boom, of course, yesterday he lost the first match against Curious.
against Curious.
Yeah, the ZVZ that we had, and then Genius came up. Genius and Boom, of course, being on the same team here.
Yeah. I heard you misspoke earlier, but I knew what you meant, so I didn't even...
Yeah.
I was like, everybody knows what he means.
Well, the Relic Watcher.
Now, this is going to be a pretty intense series. Whoever gets this first win puts the momentum for their team. They're always going to have that map advantage.
Who do you think is going to take that?
I slightly favor Yoda here, to be honest. I think if his team's putting him out first here, he's definitely got something up his sleeve.
I think Boom Boom can actually do that. I feel Boom Boom has it in him. We saw him perform yesterday, just in the ZVZ. Didn't go too well for him. Let's see if he can pull it up against the Terran. GSTL 2013 Season 1. Alan Wolf. Starting to the bottom left of the map, we have our Terran player in yellow, starting for LGIM.
LGIM Yoda.
Yoda named himself after a Star Wars character.
And he's up against the Zerg player, starting to the top right in blue, the starting player for Team AZUBU.
AZUBU Boom Boom.
Something smells funny about this one.
That's definitely true. The man who named himself after farting noises. And one of the things I want to highlight here is that he also was the starting player for his team when they first met in Incredible Miracle in the regular season. Back then it was a Zerg versus Zerg that he played on DMZ. He took down Bial and gave his team a bit of a lead before he was taken out by Yonghua in the second match. And that was one of those crazy, that was actually, I think, the most insane match that we ever had here in the regular season, because AZUBU sent only Zerg players out.
Yeah.
And after the starting player, Incredible Miracle decided to go full-on Protoss against AZUBU, so we had a lot of PvZs the last time.
Yeah, Protoss versus Zerg just back-to-back. Well, looks like we're going to have standard openings here on this relatively smaller map. It's going to be CC first versus Hatchery first. And there is a drone scout, so he could go double hatch before pool if he chooses to. And the command center will be placed by Yoda on the high ground.
The win ratios that you see on screen right now are the win ratios including Wings of Liberty. If we focus on Heart of the Swarm, which is the add-on that we play right now, we can give you a quick breakdown. We currently see Boom Boom in a Zerg versus Terran, and offline in Heart of the Swarm. He played 8 maps in total in this matchup. He won only 3 of them, so he has a 38% win ratio. But if we go down his match history, he won the last couple of games that he played against Terrans, namely MVP and also against BenQ. If you look at Yoda's history, on the other hand, he played 17 matches against Terran in Heart of the Swarm offline. He won 9 of them, which leaves him at a 53% win ratio. Losing to his last 4 opponents, though. He lost to Savage, Haiva, Roro, Solki, and actually Sniper, so that makes 5. So as of late, Yoda was not really successful against Zerg. That might change today, but if that is any indicator, then Boom Boom should feel pretty confident here, even though he has a bit of a lower win ratio in this matchup.
Yeah. You know, as far as the last particular matches that we've seen, you're definitely right. He's got that edge. We have a gas before pool coming out here for Boom Boom, so he's going to have fast speed that he can use to pressure, and he may even go for perhaps some roach aggression right off the bat. He's pulled 2 out, something the SCV... You know, I don't even know if he saw it. He left pretty quick because he knows the queens are coming out.
Yeah, at this point, speed is already on the production tab, and as you already said, he was still mining for a little bit. He has one of the harvesters still in gas. And it's going to be very interesting. This is a map where you have not the biggest distance between the 2 bases, so a roach push could definitely be something that we're going to see here. It's always really important what kind of push you are going to throw against a Terran player if you want to be aggressive. We've seen a lot of Zergs in the past trying to be overly aggressive, going up against 3 CCs, taking down nearly all of the harvesters, but then losing the game in the end because of the power of the mules. So if you're actually up against a Terran player who plays very greedy and he gets this 3rd command center early on, then you need to do so much damage with this. It always looks really scary when that roach army is going across the map, or even just a normal Baneling burst, but you need to always keep in the back of your head that you need to do so much economic damage to make up for those 3 command centers that we oftentimes see for Terran.
Yeah, 3 CCs and the mules and everything else really need to do some damage. Sometimes you can kill most of the army until you get pushed back, and then a lot of harvesters as well. That's the most ideal way. We do have the reactor ready here for switching on that barracks. He's completed the wall off. And back at home, 8 more drones on the way, and that's going to put him up to 44. got 3 queens and starts the third base, so we're not going to see any super fast aggression.
Yeah, you can play with a Roach push on 1-1 on 3 bases. It's a little bit unlikely with what we currently see, but it could still happen. There comes the speed for the Overlords, and that's always an indicator that the Zerg player wants to know exactly what's going on here. And it's also a bit of a tell that we won't see him being overly aggressive right away. The Overlord gets a little bit of a, I don't know if that's his version of a Whirlpool or...
He just thinks that he's, you know, he's got his little throne there or his pedestal or something.
You know, actually...
Roach Warren goes down.
Usually you would say that with the Overlord speed, the Zerg is not likely to go into that push, but with the Roach, with the fast Overlord speed, you can find out what exactly is there in the main base. And I actually think that at this point, Boom Boom is just weighing his options, and he's gonna scout.
Yeah.
And once he finds out what exactly the tech choices of Boom Boom, he might actually just go for it.
You know, when he sees the Banshee Cloak, though, I don't think he's gonna... Well, we'll see. He's gonna go in right now with his Overlord speed, heading straight towards the Banshee Cloak, which is really rare in this matchup. We just had a patch, and it costs 100 gas less now.
I don't really expect him to overcommit to Roaches here, because if you see that, yes, the Banshee doesn't do too much damage against the Roaches. It's going to take a long time to take all of them out. But if the Banshee meets the Roaches in the middle of the map, then it's a completely different story, and you can't do anything against it. So aggression is something that Boom Boom should not really choose here. Maybe with Zerglings trying to do a bit of damage, but there's not going to be a Roach push anytime soon. I just don't see it.
Exactly. He starts the lair after seeing this and Spores. And even, you know, if you want to put the Banelings with your Roaches, it's going to be even worse because the Banshees can actually kill Banelings quite quickly and eliminate the busting that you can have with that type of a push with the Ling follow-up. Spores here being quite critical, and he did actually cancel the Cloak, as well as the Banshee. No, one Banshee only. Yeah. One Banshee only is out.
One Banshee is out, but since he was scouted, he immediately started to cancel Cloak, and now he actually invests the gas in upgrades right now. We have a quick 1-1 for him. This will give him a huge lead in the upgrades, but a bit of a faster tech in general for Boom Boom here. The question now, of course, being how well can he defend against the Banshee. Shouldn't be too much of a problem since we don't have Cloak and no heavy commitment to Banshees in general. The Queens are already there, and the Spore Crawlers just make sure that there are not going to be any kills for Banshee just yet.
Yeah. And he's actually going up to 5 Spores. So that's 5 drones killed, and in a sense, they're obviously going to be useful against drop play later on, but that's 5 drones he doesn't have. He spent money to get rid of, so it's a nice little fake here by Yoda. This Overlord placement here, he had a few too many over there, loses both.
Yeah, and he might lose more. To the top left, we have additional ones. We see a transition going into Ling Mira Baneling, and also the double evolution chamber now coming in. It's going to be important for Boom Boom to keep up in the upgrades, but Yoda is playing a very solid game here. The Banshee is a great weapon for him to just intimidate the Zerg a little bit and keep him just tied up to those 3 bases that he has. And at the same time, he's playing it greedy back at home, getting that armory at the perfect timing so he can go straight into +2/+2. And with such a significant upgrade lead, he will be able to not only establish himself that 3rd base that he's aiming for right now, but then later on also pulling the aggression towards Boom Boom.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for Boom Boom, this is starting to get a little bit scary.
It's uncomfortable, you know, he's down in supply at the 10-minute mark before really any engagements have happened, and that's never what you like.
You know, I'm really surprised that he didn't take that Overlord out. If you plan on taking that 3rd base to the top left of the map, then you usually send the Viking right there to make sure that you're Overlord hunting anyways. Yeah. So you already took down 2, and if you are going to take that 3rd base, why not go there right away to make sure that your opponent sees that as late as humanly possible?
Yeah, that was a bit of an oversight. You know, the Banshee is so cool because he also tried to use it to scout. He ended up using a scan. He wanted to see the lair timing. He got to see that. I just like this one Banshee so much. And if your opponent doesn't scout it, then the Cloak can do a lot of damage. But if he does scout it, then you just use it for a scout and switch. But right now, he's taken a massive supply. He's killed so many Overlords this game. I think this is probably the 6th or 7th Overlord he's killed. Right now, 0 units lost. 0 units lost for Yoda. Nearly 1,000 right now for Boom Boom.
Here we have the scans going down, trying to find all those tumors and force the creep back. And Boom Boom is really in trouble, even though there's no fight just yet and we have the same supply. With +2/+2 started before the 1-1 is done for Boom Boom, this is a bit of a problem for the Zerg player here for sure. He needs to really hit his stride once he reaches the 1-1.
Yeah, it's very true. He's getting the mutas out.
And this matchup, normally the Zerg has a little bit of an advantage in the mid-game when you are going into 2-2 for the Terran player, because he has a very dominant mid-game composition with Ling Mira Baneling. Later on, as soon as the +3/+3 kicks in, it's really difficult for the Zerg player to withstand the Terran army. So usually that's when you see the attack into Hive to get those 3/3 upgrades. But the mobility of the Terran is going to be an issue. But Boom will at least get his 4th base up to the top center of the map, so that's going to be very important for him to stay a little bit ahead in the economy.
Yeah. This will be spotted right now by the Banshee, but the Banshee will die to the Queen. That Viking that died had 5 Overlord kills. And, you know, that Viking alone getting 5. And right now, with the spot on the base, it looks like he's going to wait a little bit longer before he pressures.
You know, there are a lot of Mutalisks out, and this one missile turret is not going to do anything at all. If Boom Boom sees that, I would be very surprised if he doesn't take that out, because the SCDs just won't be there in time to repair the missile turret. And the Widow Mines, they aren't there yet. A few of the Mutalisks being caught in the middle of the map, that's always very annoying as a Zerg player, but here come those Mutalisks, and he's going to take it out. Yeah.
He takes out the turret. There's a few Marines, though, and he's not going to be able to get a whole lot done here. But the threat is there. He forces a stem. And right now the Widowmine count is not that high. He only has 5, and he's making 3 at a time, starts that upgrade, so he's going to start to beef that account up right now. But he doesn't have this presence where he doesn't have enough Widowmines to start moving out on the map and clearing up creep and attacking bases.
The sensor tower in the middle of the map is actually, or not in the middle of the map, but that covers now the entrance, the ground entrance to most of those bases. That's really cute for Yoda. He doesn't really know about the bottom right of his main base, so he does not know when those Mutalisks are trying to go in again. But with those Widow Mines that he already has, he can set up a bit of a defense there. And you can really see that now the Hive Tech has been started. And I actually like this timing that Boom Boom chose for his Hive Tech. If you look at the 2-2 upgrades, you see that Hive will be completed by the time that those upgrades are done, and then he can head into a 3-3. A lot of Zerg players have a huge problem staying on lair tech and not getting those upgrades out. And with Yoda just macroing it up like a boss here, getting 3-3 already, he will be in an advantage for a long time in the upgrades.
Yeah. He's also preparing his concussive shells for a transition if the Ultralisks come out and he needs that. And he will want to have his Marauders as useful as possible. Of course, the concussive shells don't work against Ultras, but they work against everything else. This is going to be such a tough engagement for Boom Boom to take all these Widow Mines, the split on the Widow Mines as well. 3-3 is not done, but he has that 2-2 advantage over the 1-1.
Yeah, 2-2 is not done yet for Boom Boom. He's trying to move in with a few of those Mutalisks. He sees the Widow Mines. He has all those Overseers in position. A couple of Banelings rolling and taking down Marines. Good job so far. Yeah. Still a little bit passive. He wants to buy more time.
He wants to buy more time for that 2-2. This drop here, not going to get a whole lot done, but it does draw the Mutas away. And Yoda still not capitalizing on this too much.
Yeah, here comes another job moving in. The Spine Crawler is ready though. What about the Queens? More and more Banelings moving in, taking down Marines. Yoda needs to be a little bit more, he needs to pay attention to his army, but he's focused on the drop in the main base, and that could do a lot of damage here.
Yeah. Over here, the third taking out some drones, and the Mutas come in. A good split once more. This time, you know, that's the type of split that he needs. I think he's just trying to get a few more Marauders out here. He sees the transition to Ultralisk coming, and he's trading these drops so he can remax with the Marauders.
2-2 is now completed for Boom Boom. His armor upgrade just finishing, and he's going straight into the Ultralisks. He will start his 3-3 upgrades very soon. There they are. Adrenal Glands also on the production tab, heading straight into the Greater Spire. And I just want to emphasize once again, we talked about this 4th base coming out for Boom Boom a lot faster. And this is why he has such a massive bank currently. He's at 3,000 minerals and he has 700 gas, so he can go into this transition that he's already preparing.
Yeah. Don't forget that Yoda is also preparing for this with his Marauder production. 3 Marauders at a time. He has the plating for his medevacs and, of course, the Widow Mines finishing up here.
Yeah, the Widow Mines are being taken out here by the Banelings. The Zerglings leading the charge and activating the cooldown, and then the Widow Mines just the Banelings just roll in to take them out. A cancel on the command center that has been built here. Both players still hugging the 200 supply.
Yeah, this is a really aggressive approach here by Yoda, but at the same time the Mutas just keeping him occupied at the bottom of the map. Great Widow Mine shot there. This is really good. This is actually a great opportunity for Yoda to try to bait some of these Lings and a few more reinforcements coming over.
Well, we have too many drones here for Boom Boom. He's at 94. That's just
way too
much. You need to get the defense up if you really want to capitalize on those. Somehow you need to build spines and spores in your main base to make sure that drop play is not going to be an issue any longer.
It's not like he doesn't have the money to make it.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's at 4.7k, so he definitely needs to do something with those. He will always be down in army supply if he doesn't get rid of them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Right now, Supernova holding about 30 army supply above his opponent constantly. Starts the building armor as well as high-tech auto-tracking. Both upgrades can be most useful for the planetary.
I don't know why Boom Boom doesn't do it. He has 5,000 minerals right now. Get rid of 14 or maybe even 20 of those drones.
Yeah, it's almost if he doesn't realize how many drones he has. That may be the case.
Yeah, I don't think he realizes it at all.
This army that Yoda's constantly attacking with is really starting to peel them apart. He's also got a drop going over to that 3rd base again.
And the one problem that Boom Boom has a little bit is that he doesn't have enough gas here. The Ultralisks are moving in, and that is actually too early. They don't have 3-3 just yet, but the Terran player is already on those upgrades. Ultralisks moving in, retreating immediately. Where are those Queens for the transfuse? Where is the emergency exit?
Oh, that's the good question. This macro hatch over here at the 3rd is going to go down. One Ultra pops out right before that, but the Widow Mine's getting great shots off on the Ultras. He finishes too many of them off. Manor Mule's being dropped here, and it looks like Boom Boom just maybe down for the count. He just doesn't have enough to production. He doesn't have enough gas.
Well, he has 29 lava. He actually could produce, but he was supply booked for a second. I feel those mana mules were a little bit premature. He takes down the base, but he hasn't won the war yet. We are now currently looking at another base at the bottom right being established for BenQ. If he gets his composition up, he might be able to pull this off. And don't forget that 3-3 is about to finish for him.
Yeah, the Medivacs here having to boost a little bit to get away. He's trying to bait the Ultras into the Widow Mines. He gets one shot, will probably get the second one here. Also takes some damage on those Medivacs and the Marauders. They're doing some damage here, but they're not able to finish off the 3 Ultras here.
The Ultralists are still moving in, and the 3-3 is done now. Kaitin's Blading is also ready. He's just moving in with everything that he has. The Mutalist trying to hunt down those Medivacs, and they will get a fair share of those. So suddenly, Yoda is dropping in supply. He's down to 165, and he's running out of minerals.
5 hit points left on that Ultra. Probably should have turned around and gone home. The same with the second one. Maybe get some transfuses, but 5 more Ultras on the way. Constantly a lack of gas for BenQ, whereas the opposite instead of Yoda, he's lacking in the minerals. He's really trying to remax here as best as he can. He needs another command center fairly soon.
Yeah, he definitely does, and he tried to build that earlier, but then it was taken out by the Mutalists. And talking about the Terran Parade push, this is the Zerg just parading units across the map down to the bottom left and trying to take down the defense for good.
Yeah, he's really trying to use this momentum. He's got so many Ultras coming across the map, and he may be able to do some critical damage here because right now, Yoda does not have enough units. He's desperately trying to call up the ramp. He's using SCVs to defend.
SCVs attacking Ultralists, that is a horrible idea. What were you thinking, Yoda?
Well, he's trying to save his army because he knows that's his only saving grace here.
Yeah.
A great position on the ramp.
You know, even the whole position on those SCVs trying to block the ramp would have been better than that. All those SCVs are now gone, and that suddenly means that his worker supply is down to 50. He kind of can afford it with all those extra mules that he has, but that is always a little bit weird thing to happen.
Yeah, definitely not ideal to have to trade SCVs like that. Widowmine's getting some shots off on the Zerlings, but he really wants those to hit the Ultralists.
Oh, actually, bottom right, he has a couple of units there, and he has seen that base, but those units were all rallied, so he didn't attack the base that BenQ just established, but he sends a few additional units over to take it out. The Ultralists, on the other hand, on the left side of the map, still going in. There are no infestors to back them up and use those fungals, but the Ultralists alone are doing so much damage. Look at those Marines, they have no chance.
Absolutely no chance at all. Good position here on the ramp. The Widowmine's not active, so he actually cannot hit those Ultras. The Planetary is really helping out a little bit here, but he loses it. Now he has to lift one of his command centers.
Yeah, we have still 89 Harvesters for BenQ.
He's running his SCVs, of course, over to this Planetary location. He's also got a second Planetary down to the bottom right. This drop, trading okay against the Lings, but obviously not ideal there.
Yeah, Yoda is actually in a little bit of trouble, and he looked really strong earlier, and he looked a bit like he thought he had that game won
He needs
already.
to cancel this and
but
lift it.
That was not the case. He doesn't do either, and now he's suddenly losing everything here, and things are starting to look a little bit grim for him. He started actually out with a very nice macro. His mechanics were great, but now he might lose another fortress. But no, there are just too many Marines.
Yeah, too many Marines. The good repair on time on this one. The base at the top left.
Now we have the Infestors. I was waiting for those guys to pop up on the production tab.
Yeah, it looks like he just needed to bank a little bit more gas. That's exactly what these Ultras granted him, that time that he needed.
And you know, you mentioned the gas, and that's a great point. We were talking about this earlier already, and I'm a bit surprised that at the bottom right he did not take those extra extractors. He's gonna lose that base now since the entire Terran army is just barreling down on it. But he could have harvested a little bit of gas there. He never took the extractors, which really surprised me.
Oh no, this is really bad for BenQ. He's losing too much He's losing too much gas-intensive units here. He will actually clean this up, but this is not the trade he wants. He loses the hatchery and almost all of his Ultras. In fact, if a target is there, he could actually lose one more of those Ultras.
Yeah, he could. And we have another job now in the main base. That Medivac getting a bit too cheeky, taken out, or nearly taken out by the Spore Crawler. The rest of the Zerglings are moving in, and then one Widowmine is already in cooldown, immediately being attacked here upon the Overseers arriving at the scene.
Oh, and that Ultra is so low on health. Both of them are. The Hive is under fire, and BenQ, he's losing that edge that he had in this game just moments before.
You know, he's actually so far down in army supply because he has just too many drones. So you look at the overall supply and you see that, yeah, Yoda is a little bit ahead, but in fact, in army supply, he is miles ahead of his opponent.
Yeah. And he's using that. He's just picking BenQ apart at every turn. He's trying to kill his hatchery. Good transfuses this time. Some Widowmines getting some shots. A nice fungal to reveal.
BenQ had some great fights here in this game, but I feel that first of all, he used those Infestors too late, and also he never really got rid of those drones, and that is just such a huge issue.
Yeah.
He's still at 78.
78 drones this late in the game against the army that Yoda has when he doesn't have, he has way too many drones to saturate his bases.
Yeah.
It's just too late, you know, now it doesn't matter for him to try to trade them out.
Well, I don't think that BenQ realized that it was really this many drones. If he would have realized that once he had those 5k, he would have started immediately to build spores and spines and all of his bases, making sure that drop play would never be something for him to worry about anymore, and then he could focus on getting more army supply out there. He hit really good battles, but I feel with more army supply, he could have actually taken that out earlier. And just think about, if he frees up that supply, he can get those infestors so much earlier.
He's really trying to make the Broodlord transition happen right now. And this is something that it looks like Yoda doesn't really quite expect yet. He's making purely Marines now, adding a few less Marauders into the mix, but he's going to need some extra starports if this game doesn't end very soon.
Yeah.
And it may end soon because he's got total control over this game right now.
Yeah, that is what Yoda's trying now. Just look at the minimap. We have units streaming across the map to the top right. We have one force at the top left, one at the right center. And even though we have the Ultralisks now moving in, I don't think that BenQ will be able to stop all of this. With good use of those Broodlords, he might be able to push something to make something happen, but I don't think it's going to.
Not if he loses his Greater Spire, that's for sure, which is soon to be under fire. Good Fungals here. The Infestor control from BenQ has been good, but like you said, the Infestors were just a little bit too late. And so it's no longer as relevant.
Yeah, a 50 supply advantage in overall supply, and I don't even want to get started to talk about the army supply here. Currently, if you actually take a look at it, it's 145 army supply for Yoda and only 80 for BenQ. That kind of says it all already.
Yeah, if those Ultras walk over those Widow Mines, it's going to be a disaster. More of a disaster than this game already is.
Look at this main base. He's taking out the Hive. He takes down the entire tech.
Yeah. Spawning Pool and Ultralisk Cavern being remade, but the Ultralisk Cavern alone is so much gas, and there's the disaster I was talking about. Look at how low those Ultralisks are, and if the Terran army just picks up and runs away here, it won't even matter. He can trade against the Ultras, he can do whatever he wants. Decides to trade one Ultra and fly away. He's going to join the other drop at the 4th base.
Yeah, the drop 2 is coming in here. The Infestors might be able to delay the inevitable for a little bit longer. BenQ still has resources, but the big problem here really being that Yoda is hitting his stride. On the other hand, if Yoda doesn't finish that soon, then the base to the top left will be fully saturated. He sends a few units over.
Yeah, he's going to kill that one.
He has to, because BenQ is kind of dead with his tech, but just think about what's going to happen once he has the tech up again. If Yoda waits too long and leaves him a chance to come back into the game, he might be able to pull it off, even though he should.
Yeah. No cancel on that hatchery and no fungal on the medevacs. The scan goes down. He wants to see the exact army size. He's also going to clear up some of the tumors. And, you know, even Overlords are going to start to become a problem here because he's lost so many of them. One more down and he's going to be survived like that. He is now 150 out of 150.
5 additional Ultralisks. How many Infestors does he have at this point? He's looking at 5. And Infestors with Ultralisks are a great composition, so maybe he can still make this happen. Here comes the first fungal, the second one is not too shabby either, and the third one, oh my god, that's the money fungal right there.
He needs the second one, he gets it, but there's so many medevacs here, now the Broodlords are exposed, and that's all he could really hope for. But you know what, if he gets these one more fungal, that's all he needs to take this engagement, but they're going to fly away.
Yoda is starting to pull a little bit of a bomber there. The first Manamul was already something where I'm like, what, really? And the second one here doesn't look too good either. If I was Yoda, I would be very careful here.
Yeah, he's got to be concerned.
Yeah. He's of course ahead, but still, with a good composition and good fungals, this is a game that BenQ could turn around with a bit of luck.
With a bit of luck, indeed. But again, the base of the top left is forced down here. It doesn't need to get a cancel. It's 300 more minerals gone. He's going to lose his macro hatchery here. And this is actually starting to become an elimination situation. He's losing too many buildings. He's not going to mine from this gas once the extractor is gone. He needs the gas. He needs everything. He needs just another base, and he's not allowed to have it.
He needs great fungals and great battles. BenQ played so wasteful early on. This time he might be able to pull that up. And here he gets the fungal. The Ultralisk is just not there.
Yeah.
To the right side is being attacked again. Yoda is playing great multitasking right now. He's drawing him to the left, drawing him to the right. He's just hitting from every single angle, from all directions. He's playing a great game here.
Oh, and those Widowmine shots decent there on the Zerglings. Gets a few of those Ultralisk armor down as well. Another Infestor goes down. And this is going to be the end. He just doesn't have anything left anymore except Ultralisks, which are a time bomb. He needs the Infestors, which he can't afford. And I don't even think he has the Infestation Pit anymore. He doesn't. So he can't even make them if he wanted to.
He's also running out of resources. The same is, of course, true for Yoda, but he has the mining base at the bottom right. Everything else is already mined out. He doesn't need more, though. He's already up by nearly 100 supply, and he's just moving in with everything that he has to take down the final base of his opponent. And BenQ, he just doesn't want to give up here, but I do not think that he can come back into this game.
Not with the economy that we have for Yoda, the map control, the mobility, and there's no lair tech even. He wants this base, it's spotted again. He's going to take a few more units to kill it than just this Marauder, but Yoda may just end the game right now. All he takes is good splits against the Ultras, good targeting. A Mule Wall goes down, and I think this time it's really the end.
So for the third time, the Mana Mules, and there it is.
GG.
Third
LGIM.
time's the charm.
Third time's the charm, and LGIM takes a lead here with Yoda.
And you know, with the last Mana Mule, that was actually like really funny to watch because it looked like the first and the second time was just like him trying to test the waters, being like, maybe if I drop a Mule, he will think it's over and he's just gonna leave the game. And then with the third time, he's like, this time I'm actually pretty certain that I can actually win this. And then he drops 4.
Yeah.
But at first he was really hesitant, like, yeah, I want to Mana Mule him, but I don't really want to commit too much energy to this.
Yeah, it's kind of like testing the waters, like you said, or at least trying to get in his opponent's head a little bit.
But let's be just frank for a second. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by BenQ's performance here.
Yeah, same.
In general, he didn't play really bad or anything. He just made a few mistakes that were so crucial that they put him far behind. Having 94 drones when you have 5,000 minerals and so much gas is just... it's just bad. You need to get rid of those. You want to have spines and spores, and if he just makes this one decision, just sacrifice 20 of those drones and get the defense that he needs, suddenly drop play does not have to concern him anymore. He has 20 additional supply that he can put into Infestors to support those Ultralisks. He should also have taken the gas a little bit faster at his bottom right expansion. That was the one thing that he needed. He had so many minerals, but if you want to get those Infestors and more Ultralisks out, and even the transition into the Greater Spire, you have to have that gas.
Exactly, and you know, this performance that we saw from him yesterday was decent. Today was decent, but a few key mistakes, like the spine crawlers, get the army up a little bit beefier.
I was so surprised when I saw him go straight into Ultralisk Cavern and the Greater Spire. I'm like, whoa, you think you have more gas than you actually do.
Yeah.
Later on in the game, of course, you always want to get those extra Broodlords out, but at that point, he was nowhere near the amount of gas that he needed.
I feel like Yoda, you know, he didn't even play the perfect game. He just had that early upgraded lead and ran with it. Well, let's see what's coming out next. Who's it going to be, AZUBU? And Violet pops up like a jack-in-the-box, and it's going to be him for game number 2.
Violet is going into the booth. It is our second Terran versus Zerg. Yoda is looking at the choice of AZUBU, and he's like, well, another Zerg player, that's fine. And keep in mind, guys, Violet probably prepared for this match. He knew already who he's going to face if BenQ loses. Let's see what he can pull off here.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely been preparing for this one. He knows that this is going to be Plan B, as we like to call it. The second player is always the player who knows the map just like the first player and can go into a match like this.
If you tuned in a little bit later, keep in mind this is a best of 9 and not a best of 7 today. And we are going to be back after a 10-minute break. We will have match number 2 between Yoda and Violet, so stay tuned. This is the GSTL Playoffs 2013 Season 1 on Color and Wolf.